Hi, guys. Thanks for subscribing. If you're not subscribing and you're just watching this, I hope you will subscribe and tell all your friends so we can keep doing this. Um, it is crunch. I don't want to say crunch time. That's kind of ridiculous. It's been crunch time for a while. I think it's important to keep in mind that the world is watching very closely. Every day, every hour matters. And this is why I and a few others are adamantly urging the Democratic leadership of the House and Senate and our governors and the DNC to immediately start holding daily briefings just after the White House briefings, or if the White House doesn't have them anyway. It doesn't have to be done by the same person every day, although you do need to have a dedicated staff, okay? A key top level press secretary. And no, this person cannot speak to the specifics of, say, what Democrats might be doing with the Senate scheduler and that type of thing. That is for leadership to do, or for the ranking members, or for Chuck Schumer to do separately. What I'm suggesting is a press secretary and then the deputies. Then they bring in different members of the leadership for various types of briefings, but that it be consolidated with staff. Okay, just like the White House has a press secretary, you need to match that dynamic as much as possible. You need to stay in the news cycles. If the White House starts having their press briefings later in the day to try and knock you out so that you miss, say, the evening news, then do them earlier. But remember, Donald Trump just kicked out the legitimate media from the White House briefing room, press briefing room. They will change their staffing and start covering the Democratic daily press briefings. If you do them, please don't hesitate. Don't wait and have a meeting next week and then get everybody together with the big proposal. Start doing something immediately and codify it within your bylaws at the DNC or whatever later. Okay, this is not the time to let the perfect be the enemy of the possible. I beg of you. Now, I have worked in leadership. I've been a press secretary. I've worked in Congress. I worked with the RNC when I was a Republican. I was a spokesperson. I've done this, and I've taught political communication strategy at the master's level at George Washington University's Graduate School of Political Management. I know a little bit about this, and I was a TV pundit for 17 years until Trump got me kicked off. I know how the media works. And when I was communications director for the House Education and Workforce Committee, I know how they have to build their daily schedules. I know what the editors and their producers are looking for. And sometimes it's just who's filling the void. But at this point in time, I urge you, I beg you to do it now. Like literally start tomorrow. I don't have a direct line to Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. I wish I did. So it has to be all of us urging them loudly to please get this done. You cannot let this stuff go unanswered. And you know who else will start paying attention? Because if C-SPAN carries it, or there's a live stream so that we can all watch it. Remember, most of us now are kind of checking out on TV news. All right. We will watch a live stream. And here's why. All of us are fighting this on social media, and we need the information and the talking points. We need to know where this is going. We need to know what's happening. Right now, we're on our own, and we're feeling it. And we're not saying that this is going to solve all of the problems, but in terms of all of us working together as an army, because this is a war, we need that cohesiveness, that one place to go every day to put it all together. So we know, so there are no surprises. Right now, MAGA, Trump, Musk, the oligarchs, the enemy, and they are the enemy because they're with Putin. They have control of social media and media, and they now are just blatantly giving the finger to the rule of law, ignoring what federal judges are ordering them to do. And because there really is not any pushback, and I know you're trying, and people will then send lists. Well, this is what Democrats are doing. If it takes somebody sending me an email or a private message or tagging me in something, that's great for someone like me who's on social media all the time, but not for everybody else. We need more than this. We need more than this. And there might be some things where Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are on two different levels, but not on the big issues that matter. Okay? We need truth and we need pushback. But here's where I think it really, really matters. If you remember, when Elon Musk and Trump's good friend Vladimir Putin militarily invaded Ukraine. And there was an assumption that President Zelensky would probably be captured and killed within a matter of days, but he didn't. You know what? They had a sophisticated communications apparatus ready to go. Everybody in Ukraine fought back. They were all on the same page. They knew what was happening. The world was cheering for them because we saw them fight back. We had mostly written them off because Putin is so strong and so brutal and so vicious. But they fought back, and the free world was behind them because they fought back. It does not appear that we are fighting back. We need that same type of leadership and communication savvy that President Zelensky of Ukraine gave us. And we don't have it. And if this sounds like, oh, Sherry's just criticizing Democrats, I'm not criticizing Democrats for the sake of criticizing Democrats. I am a Democrat. I am trying to help. And I do know how this stuff works. It's not going to fix everything, but we're not going to be fixed if we don't have it. Use President Zelensky when Ukraine was attacked by Putin as a blueprint. He acted so quickly. They acted so quickly. They had this together. They knew the world was watching, and they knew that the world needed to see them fighting back and being smart if they were going to get the world to help them. And it worked, at least up until now. We know that Trump wants to hand Ukraine to Putin. They survived this long, and that's why. I need to see my friends fighting back on social media. I need you to understand that this is more important than if somebody at the country club won't nod hello to you next time you see them, these MAGA asshats. Remember, these are the people jumping on your timelines to spew this filthy propaganda, okay, and lies. They are on board with Trump and Putin and Musk. They are uninformed. They are what we call low information voters, but they are emboldened because somebody has made them feel smart. I am shocked at their behavior. And I'm talking about the ones on Facebook where people really know each other and they're actually friends or at least know each other. The good guys, us, have to understand that these people are not your friends because you don't do it to them. They are now the equivalent of the German civilian Nazis that enabled Hitler. That is where we are. And don't roll your eyes at the Hitler comparisons because we have been there for a long, long time. They step in, they say all this stuff, they don't provide any data or facts, and they will pound away at everybody. They're doing this to people. They jump on the timelines of people who think they're friends. And so the people who have those timelines, oh, we don't want to offend anybody. They don't care about offending you folks. Just unfriend them. Let them see your post. Make your post public. Unfriend them so they can't comment, but maybe they'll learn something. And if they ask you why, you tell them. Don't leave the dirty work to the rest of us. And I think a lot of people are still doing that because they still can't quite accept where we are. It's not getting bad. It is bad. It is here now. It is here now. People are starving and will soon die now because of these people and what they did and what they're doing, what they enabled and supported and brought to fruition. This is who they are. And it's not even about them. Oh, I'll show her, I'll show him. They aren't worth it. They sold their souls to the devil a long time ago. Maybe initially in 2016 or so, they didn't know any better, but they do now. They don't care. They don't care. This really is who they are or who they've become. And they think it's okay because they see enough of them around. Well, now they want to make sure there's enough of them just so they kind of know. They kind of know. You can tell. You can tell by the way they can't really defend themselves. They launch into personal attacks and invectives. So those are the real people. Now, when you switch to Twitter, now we're talking bots and trolls. It's not real people. The real people that are on Twitter that support this stuff tend to be the professional MAGA, the ones that make money from it, get their power this way. They get their fame and their power. And if you check into their real backgrounds, they're a little scary. These are not people that should have this big platform. So these are the professionals who make their career and their money and get their power this way. They're evil. Yeah. And then the rest are just bots and trolls. The real people who are MAGA are not that sophisticated. And you know this. They don't have their facts. They don't even know how to go look for them. They really don't. And that's telling. But Trump always knew this. He knew the fertile ground for his fascism was with the stupid people. But the rest of us who are hungry to have some sort of coordination, we know that many Democrats in leadership positions are trying. But I'm telling you, you need to do better. And I'm giving you a way to do better. And I'm not just somebody, out there in the hinterlands coming up with an idea at a coffee clash. This is what I've done for more than 40 years. Check me out. You must do this. And I'll tell you something. There was a time when I was a Republican, I was working with some Republican leadership, and they kind of liked the idea and they were going to do it. So they couldn't get their act together either, but we were starting to do this. So I'm begging you, folks. I am talking about starting with just a couple of key staffers. Again, pay them another way, find a way, but you need somebody who, who works with the different leadership offices, who's going to stand up there at the podium every day. And each day he or she can then bring in a Jasmine Crockett, a Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. Actually, these are people, the leaders actually should be able to come in anytime they want, but you coordinate it. Okay? You coordinate it. And you fact check Trump and Musk and Fox. Okay? You do it. You have to give the media something else to work with. We didn't do this enough during the election. Many Democrats failed to see that the danger, the peril, was the first time Trump said, "I'm running again." And the reason he did that is because Merrick Garland was letting him off the hook, and Trump knew it. If it was because Merrick Garland is corrupt, then this was already in the pipeline and Trump already knew he was safe. If Trump was just hedging his bets because he saw how Mueller didn't do what he needed to do, wasn't strong enough, when he saw that Nancy Pelosi decided not to impeach Trump over 10 counts of obstruction of justice in the Mueller report, when he saw Democrats weren't really fighting back, he knew. So perhaps he was hedging his bets, knowing this would keep him out of prison. But Trump knew the minute he said he was running that he was a presumptive nominee, and he started right there at that 50% line. Democrats pretended like he was starting from the beginning and working his way up like through a primary. No. Just like Kamala Harris started at the 50% line. We're a 50-50 nation, and then we're fighting in those margins. And Republicans did, MAGA did, Democrats didn't really do that. Okay, so let's learn from it. Let's learn from that. But in terms of what we can do now, if you Democrats in the leadership do not coordinate this and do this every single day, you failed on purpose. You failed on purpose. You have a microphone. You can get the attention of the media that's been kicked out of the Brady press room, the White House press briefing room. MSNBC will probably carry it. CNN, maybe. Print will. I think the networks that have all been kicked out of the briefing room will. And also, if you're not doing this already, but have your Democratic press secretaries find out, your press staff find out, obviously in advance, who is booked on the Sunday shows. actually on all of the shows on prime time, and find out which MAGA Republicans they have on, and then put forth your own people. You know, every time Lindsey Graham is going to be on, make sure that you've got somebody else who's an expert on Lindsey Graham to fact check him. Make these assignments so that we always have a stable of people ready to go that don't need a lot of preparation. You're probably already doing this. Your press secretaries are probably always doing this to a degree. I think you need to do better. There's no hope with Fox. I mean, I used to do this. I used to try, and we didn't really have a lot of cable news back then when I first started it, but I'd call around and see who was on the shows. Sometimes it would be announced on Friday, and I'd try and get my way in there. The other thing I would do is, when you find out which Republican is going to be on the Sunday shows, your press staff, these leadership press staff here, maybe some of the committees, call and give some information and some suggested talking points or questions to be asked. Just weigh in. Keep the lines of communication open. Make sure that on Meet the Press and that sort of thing that they know. Don't assume that they know all this stuff. Don't assume that their reporting staff is so big and so sophisticated that they're catching on. Do your part to help out. Not with the big, don't deluge them, but you can decide what you want to focus on each week by trying to get them to focus on it. But on a daily basis, I am telling you, the rest of the world needs this cohesive, democratic press briefing. I need it. People like me need it. People who don't have as much time to spend on this need it. We need this. The world needs to see Democrats fighting back. And the world is watching, and they know that it's taking Democrats more time than they'd like to kind of get their act together. And if there's all these other things going on and lawsuits happening, we're suing them. If Trump and his goons are being sued, great. But let's put it all in one place, okay? A press briefing every day. Every day. You can fact check the White House on what they're saying. You can put out information that people need to know. And we know that a lot of the TV now is owned, and newspapers are owned by these oligarchs, these MAGA oligarchs. And maybe they won't publish this stuff, but you know what? If it's done in real time, and if they're televised live, the journalists, the true journalists there, will have an opportunity to present this and put it on the air unless their owners, their overseers, their overlords deny them this. But they'll just keep doing it until they're stopped. At least then we know where we are with this stuff, right? But we need more from our leadership. Sorry, folks, but that's just the reality. Not just us, but again, I will remind you, the world needs it. And again, Ukrainian President Zelensky gave us the blueprint for it. Let's follow it.